we were noticing from some. I don't think
it
was hidden. I think it was quite obvious that he was out punching him 2-1.
Yeah,
and you know what?
But early on it wasn't. So I thought, hey, maybe there's a chance. But after that, it just they needed to do something different. Joe, is my point.
But again, you know, the fight has to play out a little bit in the early rounds before you get settled in and you find your rhythm. You know.
From Spence. Oh, he does.
Let's talk for a minute. I have not been really, feeling this card, because the question at the end of the day is, to me, what does it lead to? By the way, this fight went exactly how a lot of people thought it was going to go. Danny Garcia was completely outclassed. He's now 0-3 in his the big fights at 147 pounds. He had him. He had Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, and Errol Spence on
just
pay-per-view.
Dictates everything.
Only person is not Terrence Crawford. So what does Danny Garcia do next? Let's keep it real here. Danny Garcia, will he probably get another title shot? He could. Will I see him get another title shot? Will he get another title shot on his level? Probably not. And 154 is bad business. Don't go there. Drop back down to 140. I don't think that he can do it. And what's he going to do there? It's sad, but we got to be critical. So basically, I chilled yesterday because, it's been this dark cloud hanging over this whole card in this fight. And there's been dark ass motherfucking Terrence Crawford. I'm black. I can make like dark jokes. Growing up, I used to always get them too. But yeah, man, shit. I want to see the motherfucking fight. And I've already watched the post-fight press conference with Errol Spence. He not saying nothing. Now, I do believe that at one point in time the fight was going to happen before the accident. Bob Arum and Al Heyman talked about it. Bob Arum confirmed that they talked. It was like in the motions. It could have possibly happened now, to be honest with you. Let's listen in. Please subscribe.
All three in favor of the winner. And still, the undefeated unified
By the way,
WBC and IBF welterweight champion of the world, the truth, Errol Spence Jr.
By the way, I'm all for Terrence Crawford going to PBC, by the way.
So 8 rounds to 4 for 2 of the judges, or 9 rounds to
I just don't like the games that they're playing.
So actually they gave
on all sides.
Danny Garcia more rounds than I thought. Took 4 rounds. 2 of the judges anyway. Isn't that a bit surprising? What do you thought? 10-2, 9-2?
Also, there's some shit floating around on social media that Danny Garcia took it easy on Errol Spence, or maybe he was paid to take it easy on Errol Spence. Remember, Paul, I don't believe that type of stuff. I'm not saying that fights can't be fixed or whatever. I just don't believe it. I don't believe it. But yeah, he just outboxed him, bro. He just outboxed him. And Danny Garcia, being the pressure fighter, power puncher that he almost took his head off. Being the pressure fighter, power puncher that he is, you expected for him to go right at Errol Spence. Like, yo, he just got out of an accident. But once again, I guess you can say that Errol Spence dictated the pace. He was the ring general. Errol Spence is sharp, man, dude. By the way, he looked, this is probably the best shape he's, I can say he's been in. That's his mom. Like, he should have, if there was an award for comeback fighter of the year, it's him. You can't really give him fighter of the year, right? Off of one fight, but the fact that he came back to do that to Danny Garcia, I don't know, man. I don't know, but he did pass the eye test. A lot of people wanted to see how he was going to look. Oh, Derrick James. I think Derrick James is hands down the trainer of the year, is he not? Shout out to Jordan Plant too. She got like a big
he was just a better man
upgrade.
Tonight. First of all, I want to thank God for giving me this opportunity, to come out the ring safe. I want to thank my dad, Andrew Garcia, Al Heyman, Fox, Premier Boxing Champions, everybody. All the fans who came out tonight, thank you. He was just a better man tonight. No excuses. I fought a hard, tough fight. He had a pretty good jab, and I think that was the key to the fight, his jab.
Jabbed his face
Was
off.
there, besides his jab, was there anything that he did better than you expected?
I think he had a great jab. And that was the difference in the fight. And he was a little bit more busier than me.
And I know you're a counterpuncher. We'll ignore those distractions over there. But I know you're a counterpuncher. But do you feel like if you would have been first more often, that could have been the difference in this fight?
Yeah, for sure. But he offsetted me with his jab a little bit, so it's all good.
Now you are 0-3 against you're 0-3 against challenging welterweight world champions. Where do you go from here?
You know, I just got to sit back and rebuild, see what I got to do next. You know, all 3 fights were good fights. You know, I fought hard, and I'm proud.
All right. Is there anything you want to say to your fans? I know you were fighting for Philly.
Yeah, I want to say thank you for supporting me. Thank you for everything.
All right. We're looking forward to seeing you back in the ring. Great job. Brian, back to you.
Yeah, that cacophony, by the way.
They're going to interview Spence now. The question is, I guess, you know, after Spence's post-fight interview, we're going to go see where does he go next, man? Who does Danny Garcia beat at 147 at the top guys? I think your Dennis guys, he wants to stay far away from him. Him versus Jamal James for that bullshit WBA interim belt. I'm glad that BoxRec don't list it. Remember, I don't count those bullshit WBA belts. Like, if it's not the super champion, I don't count that shit. You know what I'm saying? I talked to Gilberto Mendoza myself and asked him, could he define the WBA gold belt? Don't you know this belt's not even in a rule book? It's not. Like, come on, man. I'm sorry. I'm in awe at Errol Spence. Like, I'm in awe at him. Like, look at him. Look phenomenal. And to see him on this big stage like this, big shit. Big shit. Big shit, man. Dude's a motherfucking man. I want to buy a farm one day.
The moment's surreal, man. It's been a dream of mine, especially coming back on my accident, a year and a half layoff. And, you know, I think I look pretty good. It's a little ring rust in there. I got a little tired, but I think I shook off the cobwebs, and I'll be ready to fight again in the summertime.
We're looking forward to that, but you said you wanted to prove to your fans that Errol Spence Jr. is back. When you were in the ring, was there a certain round that you thought to yourself, all right, I'm good?
I think our training camp, I felt good. I knew I was going to be good. That's why I sound back, and I told people I didn't want to tune fight. I want to fight a great champion like Danny Garcia, somebody whose name is known, and somebody that's going to give me a fight. And he definitely gave me a fight, and I came in and I proved myself that I am the best 147 fighter in the world.
And kudos to you for taking such a big fight, your first fight back. Is it safe to say that you did somewhat need an opponent like Danny Garcia to bring that out of you tonight?
Oh, definitely. Danny Garcia puts you to the limit, especially in training camp. You know, I watched him train hard, and I've been watching him fight since I was an amateur. So I know what he brings to the table. He's a great champion, and I knew I had to be 100% ready, and that's why I chose him, and that's why we got this fight. And I fought him at home, and I'm glad that everybody came. I appreciate everybody for coming through. You know, be patient with me. I had to shake off a lot of cobwebs. This was a comeback fight for me, but I'll definitely be 120% come my next fight.
And you talk about you had to shake off some cobwebs. Were there any mistakes that you can maybe look back on now in the fight that you wish you didn't do?
Definitely. I mean, I'm human, you know. I made a couple mistakes, like, you know, I was playing around a little bit or putting my hands down or being lazy sometimes on my jab and things like that. So, you know, I'm going to practice on that. My coach got on me when I got back to the corner. He was like, yo, Danny Garcia is known for knocking people out when they're playing around, they dropping their hands and being lazy. So pick your hands back up and win this fight. And that's what I did.
And you've beaten Kell Brook now, Mikey Garcia, Sean Porter, and Danny Garcia. Who do you want next?
Oh, I'm gonna chill on my ranch. I just bought a new ranch. I got a couple of horses. I'm gonna get some more horses, get some chickens, some more cows, and I'm gonna chill with my kids and my family and enjoy my time. And you know, I got to decide when I'm gonna come back, and then you know, hopefully be in the summertime. But right now, I'm just gonna enjoy my family time. I had a long year and a half, and I need to rest a little bit.
All right, well, enjoy your rest time. Enjoy your Christmas with your family, and we'll look to see you in the summer. Congratulations, Errol Spence Jr., everybody. Brian, back to you.
I want to see the ranch. I kind of want to see it. I wonder if he got like a huge ranch, something that he's gonna be like an old ass man in, or is this like a ranch that he got like, all right, I might get another one, like a bigger joint. You know, but I always wanted to do that. I was even, you know, like considering moving, you know, to Alaska or even, you know, one of the Dakotas or somewhere, like going up into the mountains and shit. No bullshit. I'm hoarding bread. But anyway, yo, dude's the man. But the question is, who's next? I wouldn't be surprised if it's Keith Thurman, to be honest with you. Even though he say he don't want Keith Thurman, I wouldn't be surprised if it's him. But one thing I don't like is we're going to take a jump cut since we're only 9 minutes in and head over to I'm gonna play some clips for you from the post-fight press conference. Now, listen, understand my frustration. I'm gonna say it again. I don't like that shit that Bob Arum did. From my understanding, now Todd DeBuff is going to be handling everything Terrence Crawford. And my understanding also is Todd LaBeouf has a very good relationship with PBC, most notably Floyd Mayweather. He is, you know, the son of Bob Arum. Is he the blood son, or is he from the, I don't know. But anyway, he's, put it this way, whenever the inevitable happens with Bob Arum, he's going to be the guy taking over. So my understanding is Terrence Crawford makes a lot of money that, as crazy as it may sound, that PBC can't really match. Now, if he goes to PBC, all of his fights will be pay-per-view. In 2021, we got a lot of pay-per-views coming, yo. A lot of pay-per-views. So Errol Spence, you know, he has fighters he can fight. You know, for example, his mandatory, the IBF situation is really, really funky. You know, we need some clarification on what's happening with Sergey Limpinets. Okay, basically, this guy right here, and I'm always messing his name up, Dukhorov, was supposed to fight Sergey Limpinets to be the interim. By the way, Sean Porter stole the show. I'm going to do an individual video on him. But I've always liked Sean Porter.
I think maybe one thing we didn't, as it pertains to Danny Garcia, is his heart and his will. And when he showed that tonight,
that jacket,
I saw a game plan early on. The consistency of Errol Spence Jr. just broke away. It broke down his game plan, Danny Garcia's, and he broke away, and he just did what he always does, dominated. I had him winning 8 out of the 12 rounds. I gave Danny Garcia 4 of those rounds, but I thought that those were rounds that Errol Spence Jr. took off. You know what I mean? So Errol Spence, and even the rounds that I felt like he took off were close rounds that could have gone his way as well. So I had an 8-4. I thought Errol Spence Jr. looked amazing. Congratulations. And congratulations to his team, too, for them all to come back from something that they had to come back from. And, of course, Errol Spence Jr., you have to take your hat off to every single one of them who are around Errol Spence Jr.
Oh, absolutely. This was big. So Errol retains, of course, the WBC, the
IBF
title as well. Manny Pacquiao is the man with the WBA title.
Yeah,
he has tweeted this evening.
Shocked.
Let's see what the Pac-Man had to say. Welcome back, he says. Errol Spence Jr., congratulations on your victory. He is back with that performance, Sean. I think, you know, we were talking before this fight about, can Errol Spence Jr. be the fighter that he once was? Do we now need to talk about the fighter that he can become?
Absolutely. I agree with Joe Goosing. Joe says he needed to get this one out of the way. I agree. And he also said that he's going to be better than he was before. And I agree with that as well.
Let me pause right there real quick. One thing I want to say is this. Damn, I forgot my motherfucking thought. Shit. Oh, the Danny Garcia fight. People think that Spence picked Danny Garcia because, you know, like he wanted like a light touch after the accident. No, this fight was supposed to happen in January. Spence was supposed to have a 3-fight 2020, you know, but it was the accident and then COVID. Remember, Danny Garcia had approached, basically the fight was already done pretty much, like even like for the winner of this, from my understanding. The winner of Spence versus Porter was going to fight Danny Garcia on pay-per-view if it wasn't going to be the Spence rematch. You know, so that shit, like put it this way, to do what he's done, coming back from what he came back from, and even himself has said, like a lot of people, like insiders, including myself, I'm not an insider, but I'm just saying, it was, people heard, like, how Spence was fucked up. Like, he was really, really fucked up, you know? So he back, like, comeback fighter of the year. And can you give him fighter of the year, even though he's only had one? But it's always like that asterisk because it's like he was drunk driving, man. That shit, I'm just glad the motherfucker alive, for real, for real. Anyway, so as I was saying, the IBF situation is funky because basically you have 3 mandatories. Because when Dukhorov couldn't get into the States, from my understanding, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, down in the comments. And please take your time out, like the video. All you got to do is just click, you know, little thumbs up, boom, or dislike it. You know, that's your right. What was I saying? Oh, so basically initially, you know, pretty much the IBF has 3 mandatories for Errol Spence because they got to figure this out because Limpinets and Clayton battled to a draw. So that interim status is still vacant. And then what are they going to do about Kutrulov? Now, Sean Porter was saying that he's the mandatory. I thought Sean Porter was in an eliminator, but not a final eliminator. He's saying that he's the current mandatory for Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford. But if you listen to the broadcast, I'm wondering if he's just blowing smoke because he's aware of like how people look at things on social media. So I'm thinking if is he saying Errol Spence Terrence Crawford name because he really, really wants it. Because he was on that shit tonight. You know, and that's why I said he's got to get his own video, because it's like, if he does that for one, how do you rate Sean Porter? You think he's going to be in the Hall of Fame? Is it too early? I'm just sorry. I rate Sean Porter very high. You know, and that style against Terrence Crawford, I would love to see it. You know, because can he get to Terrence Crawford? And when he does, Terrence Crawford never fought seeing nobody going to be all in his shit like that. So his next fight is going to be really, really interesting. But the thing is, as I said in an earlier video, PBC is a league. Something tells me that the fighters are told not to talk about it, but PBC is a league. They're, you know, I'm going to start, you know, treating them like the UFC. It's like they're a league. It's like, oh, well, he got to sign one. Like, and I wish they would just go ahead and say it. You know, they have been trying to get their own belt for the longest. Hell, the Fox Sports vice president of the Fox Sports VP, was he the VP of community? Well, anyway, look it up. He did an interview with Chris Mannix. His name is Billy Wagner, or is it Wanger? Anyway, look it up. He was pretty much talking. He confirmed it pretty much. You know, like that they were trying to do like a top 15 for heavyweight, super middle, 147, where like their guys fight to be number one. And basically PBC has been doing that, if you noticed. So it's like this. Now that, you know, I'm starting to address them as a league and look at them as being like a league of their own, I'm not getting frustrated over these fights. I'm like, oh yeah, we got fights signed within the fight, you know, to get the fight. You know, I'm for Terrence Crawford going to PBC. However, he's making a crazy amount of money, $4 million plus guaranteed. PBC fighters, I'm sorry, aren't getting that. Not guaranteed. They were before, but they have to be on pay-per-view. He's getting like another like level of competition. And I like Bud, and to be honest with you, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think that Bud Crawford can beat Errol Spence. Then again, I'm 50-50. I'm on the fence. I got to be honest with you, but I'm kind of leaning toward Bud, especially if he switched southpaw. You know, Bud got a lot of tricks up his sleeve. Spence can fight and box. But Bud crafty, man. Like, you know, yes, we got to worry about the size. And yes, you know, Spence will be like the first full prime 147-pounder he's fought. Now, looking at Errol Spence's resume, Kell Brook, hugely significant. I don't really count Chris Algieri. I kind of figured that fight was going to go exactly the way it did. Lamont Peterson, I don't count that. That was his last legs. But I don't count that Lamont Peterson. I don't count, put it this way, meaning that I don't look at Lamont Peterson as being like a significant big key win for him. You know, the Mikey Garcia, that was a financial fight. And that is the reason why he's pretty much here on pay-per-view. I completely understand and understood the politics of that fight and why it happened and everything. And then Sean Porter, that fight and card surprised me. You know, I didn't think that them two, like Sean Porter, for one, as you can see, he's good on the microphone. And Sean Porter did a really, really excellent job selling that fight. And their PBC face-to-face is kind of classic. And I miss those. And now we have Danny Garcia, who is now 0-3 in the Big Four. Big Three. People thought he lost the Lamont Peterson fight. I didn't think he lost that fight. But I definitely thought he lost the Herrera fight. Damn. After Matisse, he's had it rough. But one thing, look at this resume, though. Errol Spence, Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, Lamont Peterson. I'm talking about the ones that were really, really credible at the time. I really don't count Paulie and Robert. I'm sorry, they were both on their last legs. Mauricio Herrera, Lucas Matisse, Zab Judah, Eric Morales was on his last leg. And here's another funny fact. When Danny Garcia fought Amir Khan, Spence didn't even make his pro debut yet. He made his pro debut in November of this. I think this was televised, wasn't it? On like PBC, not PBC, Golden Boy Fight Night, some shit on Fox Sports. November of 2012, Danny Garcia had fought and beat Khan and was a world champion in July, early that year of 2012. Crazy how life works, right? But anyway, let me get up out of here. Let me see if Sean Porter's going to say what I thought he was going to say, or was it earlier, before the fight?
The
when he was talking
calamity
about
that he
Crawford.
went through, and you come back from it, it only builds you up and makes you stronger.
It's hard to find a complete boxer. in the sport, isn't it? How close does Errol Spence Jr. come?
I'm very humble to say that Errol Spence Jr. is a complete fighter. It's not about him becoming a complete fighter. Errol Spence Jr. is a complete fighter.
So obviously you fought him September 2019, didn't you? I know
buddy.
that you. I know that you said that you're the mandatory for that title.
Yeah.
You're expecting that fight. Are you expecting it as your next fight?
I'm expecting it as my next fight.
What if that's not to come until the summertime then?
Well, I mean, it's already been said. I'm the mandatory for the WBO. Amazing fight with Terrence Crawford, or the winner of this, Errol Spence Jr., who has the WBC and the IBF title.
Which do you prioritize?
I kind of prioritize. Terrence Crawford, for the simple fact that you have not seen me in the ring with Terrence. You've seen what happened with Errol Spence Jr. It's about coming back, fixing some wrongs, and beating him. But I think with Terrence Crawford, whole new story, a whole bunch more conversation that has not been had yet, and that's why I favor that one. However, the way he looked tonight, you let me know when you're ready to go.
What about Danny Garcia? Because obviously he's now taken the losses to Errol, to you, to Keith. Where does his career go?
It all sound good, don't it? It all sound good, but I like it. I like it. And Sean Porter, you know what? I remember that I remember when I talked to Sean Porter, I thought he wasn't going to fight Errol Spence. Listen, and I did not make a vow to never like slander or say, I never did though, not to think about it. But then I make a vow just to like only give Sean Porter good press, because it was like, yo, when he fought, like a lot of people didn't think, like, put it this way. Remember when he was holding out on not fighting Errol Spence? You know, what fight was that? I think I was at his fight. It was him versus Berto, and for another post-fight press conference story where motherfucking T.Y. So basically, every time I go to a press conference, I'm usually like on social media asking questions. So basically, it was the post-fight press conference. The video's on the channel. I asked him something along the lines of, what does it take for you to fight Sean Porter? Because T.Y. said, won't you ask him that? And I was like, all right. And they was like dancing around it and talking about timing and shit. But when you look at it now in hindsight, they made the right decision, because I really enjoyed that pay-per-view. I enjoyed the build-up. I didn't think that two guys like that, you know, could come together and do what they did. Also, two African-American fighters headlining a boxing pay-per-view. That's crazy. I'm talking young African-American fighters. Like, when is the last time we really had that? Floyd Berto. But we don't really get that, like, you know, too often is what I'm saying. So, you know, I just didn't think that them two was going to be able to do, like, even the post-fight press conference was fire. Like, they really motherfucking, that was a good-ass motherfucking thing. So, yeah, it sounds good.
From here.
You know what? This is what I said on my podcast. I said it's not about him winning or losing this fight. Or excuse me, it's not about him losing this fight. It's about how he loses this fight. If I see the same Danny Garcia that's waiting and not punching, and you waste the entire fight and then you want to fight strong at the end, I can't respect that. However, he didn't do that. He tried to punch it between Errol Spence Jr. I saw the game plan early on. He wanted to counter immediately.
It looked like to me that Danny, and I just, look what time it is. It's fucking 6 o'clock in the morning. You know, I watched the fight from the bed, and I was like, all right, you know, let me go down here and cover this fight and try not to fucking talk about fucking Terrence Crawford. You know? But, oh, by the way, I couldn't stream because they, BT Sport, I'm waiting for them to release my Tyson Jones video that they took illegally, by the way. So I got a copyright strike and I can't stream. Like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't know they still did that. But anyway, I got a couple more videos coming on this, and I'm interested in the pay-per-view buys. I got to be honest with you. Over the years, I've been pretty good, you know, like kind of like gauging interest and everything like that. But Tyson Jones being last week, you know, COVID, I think Tyson Jones took a significant amount of money from this, because some people are looking like, what, 2 pay-per-views in a week? And then the fact that was $50, this is $75. Now, don't fucking, I know the reason why all this shit. I know all the business shit and everything, but look at it from a casual fan standpoint, you know? And then the fact that Tyson Jones was trending so heavily, people like, damn, like the word of mouth for that motherfucker was high. So people probably was like, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and buy it. And then, I don't know, man. I don't know. But it was supposedly 16,000 plus in attendance. They looked like they did a better job. It looks like they did a better job, like keeping people away from each other. Because when they fought when Tank Davis and Leo, by the end of the fight, everybody was all crowded around and everything like that, you know. So it looked like they was a lot more organized. But once again, Sean Porter stole the show. I don't want to keep sitting here and rambling and shit. But yeah, man, back on the saddle. You know, I'm sorry, this week I just wasn't feeling it. I'm sorry. I don't know what it was. You never seen me like, you know, a big fight like this all late. I don't know what it was. But I am back full time. And don't you know, me bitching about fucking not buying the Anthony Yard fight. Don't you know he goes and loses? I could have recouped my $25. Shit. Anyway, I'm out of here. I'm TstreeT Controversy with FightV360.com. Please subscribe.